Welcome, Hellions, to another fine show I have planned for you. First things first, I would love to show my deep gratitude and thanks to one of my oldest subscribers, a self-proclaimed black magician named Clyde, the mysterious Clyde. He sent me this awesome T-shirt, Fearful Tales of the Occult. Um, I thought I knew horror movies, but apparently I don't. I have never heard of this one, and it says the word occult on it, so I'm going to be wearing this proudly and in public as much as I can. Thank you, Clyde. Hopefully one day we'll hang out and go to a show and drink some brews together, brother. Uh, Secondly, we need to recognize a moment of silence for a one known as Trevor Stranad. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. Trevor Stranad was the frontman to a melodic death metal band called the Black Dahlia Murder. Very successful band. Uh, and in the rumor mill, people are thinking that this guy took his life. I will address that later with one of the songs I'm going to be playing tonight. But Trevor Stranad is going to be deeply missed, and I have to admit that the Black Dahlia Murder was they had some of the best videos in the history of the death metal genre. So let's go ahead and give up a moment of silence to Mr. Trevor. All right. May Mr. Trevor Stranad find the peace that he's looking for in the succulent arms of Shangri-La. So tonight we are going to do a compilation. I'm going to play two bands from a Victory Records compilation called Area 51. This came out in 1998, and it commemorates the 50th anniversary of the aliens landing in Roswell, New Mexico. It also has bands on here from Ice Cream Records that comes out of Belgium. And it was compiled by, oh God, I forgot his name. Frank Abel at Hide the Crown Records. Victory Records started in 1989 by Tony Brummel, and much like everything else that was happening in the early 90s, which is a very pivotal moment in rock and roll history, the world was changing, music and art was changing. Just like your Lagwagons, your Pennywises, your NoFXs, these were kids who were growing up in Orange County, but they were bringing Van Halen and Wasp with them, but they were surrounded by the likes of Social Distortion and Bad Religion. Hardcore was going through the same, kind of the same thing. You know, you had all these kids who were coming out of these major cities and who were, you know, they were highly influenced by metal bands like Slayer and Possessed. Um, but they were growing up around Minor Threat and Agnostic Front and Warzone. So they were blending metal in with traditional hardcore music. Tony Brummel from Chicago created Victory Records, hearing this and capitalizing on it, and began putting out bands who were playing this style of music. It would later become known as metalcore music. I know that's somewhat of a dirty word in the metal and hardcore community, but the early bands were very good at this, and they were exciting to watch. Uh, Now, 5 to 8 to 10 years later, you would start getting a lot of bands, especially coming out of the Midwest and the South, who were doing this style of music just for the sake of it, and it became very trite. Um, However, it hasn't gone away, and it has continued to inspire the youth of the world. There are some newer bands out there who are doing this, and they're doing it well. Section Hate being one of them from California. Uh, what else? This record also features bands from the Ice Cream label. Ice Cream Records started out in 1993, and they were hearing the same thing coming out of Western Europe. Granted, the majority of the bands on their label were Americans, but they were the contemporaries of Victory, and and they championed the European bands that were playing this style of music. Uh, Ice Cream would be started by a band called Deviate, which is one of the bands I'm going to be playing tonight out of Brussels, Belgium. And the man who started that his name was Lauren something, or God, I can't. Oh man, I can't remember his name. Well, look it up if you're interested. But Ice Cream was basically doing the same thing that Victory Records was doing in the early 90s. So, the first band I plan on showcasing tonight, is atypical of hardcore music and Victory Records in general, and it's a band called Ajuuca. Ajuuca comes from Augsburg, Germany, and they play electronic music. Ajuuca would start off in about 1995, and they would close up shop in about 1998. They have two full length records under their belt and a few songs on compilations like this one. The reason I'm playing this song is because it's very atypical of Ice Cream Records or Victory Records because it is electronic. In Europe, it's this kind of music's called big beat. I think Americans and Canadians say that too. I'm not sure, but it's basically it's very aggressive dance music is what I always considered big beat to be. It's not industrial. It's not Nine Inch Nails or Ministry. It really is a lot more like dance music, but it's bombastic and aggressive. So Let's check out Ajuuca from Augsburg, Germany. Did I already put the CD in? I did. Okay, let's do it. Okay, that's Ajuuca from Augsburg, Germany. That's a good example of big beat. Um, but I guess you can kind of hear what I'm saying. It's dance music, but it's very aggressive, a very aggressive style of dance music. That is very atypical of Ice Cream Records, of Victory Records. So now we're going to talk about Ice Cream Records, and the first band that started off on their label out of Brussels, Belgium, is a band called Deviate. Uh, Deviate would, God, they started in probably 1993, 92, and they would go on to about 2003. And I think they put out a record a year. I think they have about 10 records. But they're an amazing band, and definitely a precursor to bands like Integrity, um, Earth Crisis, what else? Strife, all bands who are on the Victory label. So this is a song called "Thorn of the Living," and I'm gonna bring back Trevor Strnad's name, and people who think about suicide. I preach about this all the time. You know, I even talk to people once in a while. You know, some of my subscribers want to want to talk sometimes. And if nothing else is going well, be a thorn of the living. I mean, here you have the Black Dahlia murder. Not only are they a great death metal band, they're a highly successful death metal band, which is a thorn in the side of the mainstream. You should be proud of that. You should be proud to be the adversary of the norm. Um, if nothing else is going well, be a thorn of the living. Fight for the rights and for the voices of those who don't have rights or who don't have voices. And that's why I love this song. I love this band, Deviate. I've been listening to these guys probably since about 2003. I was late to the game on this one. Um, I was more familiar with the Hate Breeds and the Earth Crisis or the Earth Crises before I really knew who Deviate was. But I once I heard this band, I kind of fell in love with them as well. So let's check out Deviate from Brussels, Belgium. There you go, Deviate with Thorn of the Living. Great band, easily as good as Hatebreed or Earth Crisis or Strife or Integrity or any of those bands. So um, it's too bad the aliens didn't didn't crash land on the border of Mexico and America, because nobody be crossing those lines. But I kid. Not too worried about it. Anyway, I hope you liked it. There's a little history of hardcore. And I hope to see you probably next week. And we'll do another happy, fun-filled show. Thank you, and I'll see you next time.